first is we're going to go with the proponents, and I'm going to call on Attorney General Bob Stephan, who's here with us today. His testimony is second here in your pack. Welcome back, General.
Thank you, Senator Whalen, members of the committee. I'll try to cut this down. I even cut it down from the remarks that I gave to you, but I'll try to do better than that. I do want to make it very clear that I do not advocate the legalization of marijuana or any other controlled substances. Frankly, I find it almost unbelievable that our federal government would continue to let its citizens suffer from various diseases when the properties contained in marijuana would alleviate that suffering. Frankly, I don't know how the federal government or the Drug Enforcement Administration can sleep at night when they choose to ignore mounting evidence that marijuana relieves suffering from many diseases. You know, it's amazing to me. I don't know why marijuana causes such outrage, but they class 2 morphine, cocaine, and methamphetamine. Very briefly, class 1 drugs are drugs that have no medicinal value, and class 2 are drugs that have medicinal value. I'm familiar with the nausea that comes from chemotherapy. In 1972, I was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphocytic lymphoma. They found it in the bone marrow, liver, spleen, lymph nodes. My lungs filled with lymphocytic fluid, and they commenced chemotherapy a few days after they removed my spleen. I'll tell you, people say nausea. Well, nausea from chemotherapy is not something you can cure with Pepto-Bismol, I can tell you that. It is very debilitating. Sometimes people are unable to hold their food down. I have a story to tell you. When I was on the bench in Wichita at the time, judge of the district court, a young man who was a gardener at the courthouse was caught planting marijuana in the plants around the courthouse, and he pled guilty in my court. I placed him on probation. And one day he came up and he said, "Judge, can I see you?" And I said, "Sure." He said, "I know you're not feeling well." He said, "But I got something to help you." And he reached in his pocket and he started bringing out a little package. And I said, "John, put it back. I don't want to know what you got. Just turn around and leave." So this is nothing new. Marijuana has been used by those with severe illnesses for a very long period of time. Over the past few months, I've been talking with a young lady with stage 4 liver cancer. She's undergoing chemotherapy. It's almost impossible for her to hold her food down. And now these days they say, well, Marinol will solve the problems that medicines didn't solve before. Marinol has THC in it, which is a component of the marijuana plant. It didn't help her at all. I called her and she was in tears. And I'm wondering why anyone would deny this wonderful woman the right to use a drug to relieve her suffering. I visited with cancer patients in hospitals in Topeka and Wichita for over 15 years, and I know that many of them resort to marijuana as a last resort. The DEA administrative law judges on 2 occasions have upheld holdings against the Drug Enforcement Administration. One wants to just allow a professor to grow his marijuana for research, and the administrative judge said the DEA should allow that. We're waiting to hear what they say. It'll probably be no. But there's just no question in my mind but that a message needs to be sent to the federal government and to the Drug Enforcement Administration that marijuana is a viable medicine and it ought to be placed in class 2. There's no question in my mind, too, that those that resort to marijuana to relieve their suffering should not be subject to incarceration and should be able to use it as a defense. I got a lot more to say, but I'm going to read one more matter and close because of the time constraint. This is a letter that I received from a lady here in Kansas. She said, in September 2002, I received an injection to my left hip. The needle penetrated my sciatic nerve and the medication dissolved the protective nylon sheet surrounding the nerve, leaving the exposed nerve, which causes me great pain. By using marijuana strictly for relief of severe disability pain, I am completely pain-free for approximately 6 hours or slightly longer. A person, I must have missed a page, but they have implanted, I don't know what it's called, something in her body that pumps out morphine, and I think it's methadone. Yeah, morphine and methadone, and that still doesn't get the job done, and so she resorts to marijuana. And in her letter she says that a person can only tolerate so much pain before they reach their threshold of pain tolerance and can no longer continue to exist with such debilitating pain, and would rather commit suicide than live one more moment with such horrible pain. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General. Committee will hold questions till the end. Our next